Every day, the volume of global passenger transit reaches massive levels as millions of people move between the East and the West. To manage this, airlines utilize the hub and spoke model, a system where they route all traffic from outlying spokes through a single, highly efficient central point. This central node allows for massive, synchronized transfers that make global long-haul travel economically viable. Emirates and Qatar Airways capitalized on this geography to build their airline networks. By situating their primary hubs in Dubai and Doha, they place themselves at the precise center of global air travel, processing thousands of connections every hour. Making this network profitable requires aircraft of significant physical scale. To transport over 500 people in a single trip, these airlines rely on the Airbus A380, the largest passenger jet ever built. But this entire system of global connectivity currently depends on the stability of a single, highly centralized geographic region. When regional instability increases, the airspace above this central node begins to close, forcing massive shifts in flight planning. The immediate consequences are severe. Flight paths are radically lengthened to avoid conflict zones, and entire fleets are suddenly grounded as the primary hubs become inaccessible. With the central hub compromised, the efficiency of the model vanishes. Every incoming flight path either severs completely or executes a massive detour around the center, turning a streamlined network into a logistical nightmare. To survive prolonged regional crises, these airlines need a geographic safety valve, an alternative, geopolitically stable backup hub. To find that solution, the search moves 2,000 miles southeast to the southern tip of Sri Lanka. This is Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport, or HRI. It opened in 2013 with the grand goal of becoming a global megahub. Despite its modern infrastructure and a construction cost exceeding $200 million, it currently sees almost zero commercial traffic. However, it was built with a rare capability. Its runways were designed to handle the largest commercial airliners in the world, including the Airbus A380. Because of its world-class facilities and lack of passengers, the media gave it a haunting moniker, the Ghost Airport. For airlines looking to bypass Middle Eastern instability, this abandoned megaproject provides a perfect blank slate. Geography is on Mattala's side. The optimal flight curve connecting Europe to Asia and Australia passes exactly over Sri Lanka. This route allows long-haul flights to bypass conflict zones entirely, safely skirting Middle Eastern hazards while maintaining direct global connections. Mattala also offers something no major hub can match: completely unused takeoff slots and zero airspace congestion. It is not a choice of desperation, but a geographically perfect contingency hub for the global aviation network. But having a large runway is only the first step. Building a functional hub from an empty airport requires much more than concrete. Processing transit traffic at scale requires critical ground-level infrastructure, including industrial-scale catering and heavy maintenance facilities. You also need a massive workforce to securely process tens of thousands of international transit passengers every single day. Furthermore, the surrounding region lacks the hotel capacity and transit systems needed to house airline crews or passengers stranded by delays. While the geographic theory is sound, the ground-level reality requires a massive financial commitment and a willingness to build an entire support ecosystem from scratch. For Sri Lanka, the economic potential is significant. Securing a partnership with global carriers would mean an immediate influx of foreign investment and development. Hosting these operations could resurrect the surrounding region, rapidly accelerating development in the local hospitality and transportation sectors. This regional crisis in the Middle East presents a rare opportunity to save a failing national asset. Looking at the broader industry, the interest in Mattala signals a shift in how airlines view global networks. Carriers are prioritizing network diversification, the strategy of spreading operations across multiple geographies to minimize risk. In a world of increasing regional instability, airlines can no longer rely on single, centralized megahubs to maintain their global operations. Future stability depends on these strategic contingency hubs as much as it does on the primary airports themselves. By diversifying their operational bases today, airlines ensure localized conflicts can no longer ground an entire global network.